The main thing we were there to cover was this food shortage in Niger and countries across the region. But Niger has a number of other challenges at the moment which are compounding that problem, and that includes a civil war in next door Mali. And as a result, tens of thousands of refugees have been fleeing across the border into Niger, adding strain to the government of Niger's massive problems that already exist. So we went to one of these refugee camps, and there were hundreds of families that had come maybe 15, 20 miles inside the border from Mali, where they'd fled the fighting in their home villages, and they were living under sheets of tarpaulin and a few twigs. They had gone from the frying pan into the fire in terms of food supplies. There was very little food where they were at home in Mali, but at least in Niger, where there was even less food and less water, less fresh water available, there was no fighting, so that their physical security was more guaranteed. Compared to some of the places I've been, Niger is very welcoming, the people are very friendly. You'd arrive in these very isolated villages, and people often hadn't seen outsiders there before, least of all these big video cameras. And the average family in Niger has 7 kids, so there are kids everywhere. And you arrive in these small villages, and of course they're very interested in seeing the strangers and trying to work out what the hell it is you're doing there. So you'd get out of the car and they'd politely want to say hi, and they'd speak their few words of French that they knew outside of their local language. And it was a very friendly atmosphere. It wasn't threatening, it wasn't aggressive. For the most part, they'd want to offer you what little food they had. They'd be willing to talk to you about anything. There'd be a lot of laughter, because if you turned the camera around on people who were looking at you, they would suddenly get a bit self-conscious. So it was typically a very sort of positive experience. But the climactic conditions are not at all conducive to filming. It's incredibly hot, it's incredibly dusty, the distances between the major population centres are vast, and the roads are terrible. So getting around the country is one of the major challenges. It's the hottest place I've ever worked in my life, and as a result, when you're out in the midday sun, you're having to constantly drink water, and your camera gets incredibly hot to touch. And as a result, you're doing sort of 10, 15 minutes of filming, and then you take a break. So we'd be filming an interview, we'd be filming some scenic shots in the sun for 10, 15 minutes. You've got what you need, and you just go and sit in what little shade the local thorn tree provides, or the side of one of the small houses, because you need to get out of that heat in order to recharge your batteries, have some water, and almost kind of rebuild your motivation to get back out there and keep filming, because otherwise you're just exhausted. And as it was at the end of each day, we were absolutely shattered. And so come 8 or 9 p.m, you just collapse into bed. And all these people we were surrounded by had no problem with this heat. They're used to it, they don't need the water. So for the two of us Europeans, it was very, very difficult. And yet you look at the people living there with a lot less food and a lot less water than we have available to us, and it was pretty astounding. I think the most surprising thing about the people in Niger was their stoicism. I would have been a lot more pessimistic about my future had I not known where my next meal was coming from. But time and again, people we met there were cheerful, upbeat, hoping things would improve, even though to me and to you and to our viewers, the situation would look pretty dire.